All right, we have an exciting session for you guys today. We're going to go ahead and get started. So good morning or good afternoon, wherever you're joining us from today. We're so glad you're here. Welcome to the May session of our CPS HR webinar series, brought to you by your trusted partner in public sector HR, CPS HR Consulting. In honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, we're diving into mindfulness strategies for mental health and well-being, presented by CPS HR training instructor Sylvette Lake. We've got quite the exciting session ahead, but before we jump in, we have a few quick housekeeping notes as usual. So today's webinar is being recorded, and you will receive an email tomorrow with the link to watch the replay. And you can also find the recording anytime on our CPS HR webinar page. So everyone is in listen only mode to help keep our audio crystal clear for this session. And we encourage you to use the chat to connect and share ideas throughout the session. If you have any questions for our speaker, please use the Q&A at the toolbar at the bottom here to drop your question into the Q&A box, and we will answer as many as we can, time permitting. Now, without further delay, I'm going to hand it over to Sylvette. Sylvette, take it away.
Thank you very, very much indeed, Marissa, and a huge thanks to you for coordinating our session today. And I am Sylvette Wake, and I put it in the chat, but as you can tell by my very funky accent, I am located here in the center of the cosmopolitan universe, which is, of course, Vacaville. We are cosmopolitan because we have outlets, not just any old outlets. We have premium outlets here, and we have the Nut Tree Roundabout, and we have the Jelly Belly outlet too. So just saying, cosmopolitan center of the universe. So welcome to all of you. So in our journey through resiliency, through mindfulness, there will be lots of opportunities for interactivity. So I welcome you to put your ideas in the chat. I won't be able to read all of them right in the moment. I'll probably take the top couple, and then we'll afterwards make sure that I go through and read all of your input. I'm saving my chat. If you want to save your chat, feel free. So I will be reading all of your input afterwards if I don't get an opportunity to share it during the session. So on we go. All right, resiliency through mindfulness. Let's start off with April last year. I was up in Colorado in Breckenridge, and I was teaching emotional intelligence to 2 battalions of firefighters. Very rewarding experience indeed. And midweek on the Wednesday, I woke up. So it's April, it's Wednesday, I'm in Colorado, it's snowing. And I was so excited. And so I belted downstairs and I went to the coffee bar and I asked the lovely person, I said, would you mind putting the fireplace on? And she said, yes, I'm happy to do that. So she went and turned on the fireplace. I grabbed a cup of coffee and I plonked myself down in front of the fireplace, the snow coming down outside. And I thought, oh my gosh, I am giddy with joy. Giddy, I tell you, not just happy, giddy. So by way of getting us started, would you like to put in the chat, what makes you giddy with joy? And I want you to hold on to this thought as we go through, because there's an opportunity to actually do something with this a little bit later on in our session. So in the chat, if you would, what makes you giddy with joy? Judy, Jessica, Melissa, getting us started. We've got the grandchildren, a book, traveling, a live band, Donna there, nature, Disney, sitting in the sun. Oh my gosh, I feel even more uplifted right now. Gardening, watching the ducks, playing with your 3 little girls. And on it goes. A car ride in the summer with a wide open green field. Payday! Zulma, nailed it. Old school music, kayaking. Fabulous. Take a moment, marinate in that moment. You bring it up. Oh, doesn't that feel good? All right, so we're going to do more of that and learn how we can leverage these moments, taking in the good, to build our resilience. So here we go. So here's our agenda. We'll look at setting up strong foundations, the power of mental resources, got mindfulness, not just milk, got mindfulness, and managing challenges. And in terms of each item, we'll have a sub-agenda. So this is the main agenda, and here is the sub-agenda. And so we'll take a look at the definition then and importance of resilience in our lives. Rick Hanson, from whom I draw much of the material today, is an author and founder of this concept, taking in the good. And he tells the story of he being out whitewater rafting one time. And they were in rapids. They had a guide on the boat, so it must have been pretty heavy duty. So they had a guide, and they were going through this rapids. And he describes how he was holding on for dear life, gritting his teeth, his fingers clenched. And then he turned around and he looked at the guide in the boat. And the guide was careful, yet sure of himself, alert, yet relaxed, calm. And he sums up this idea of an unshakable core, right? So even obviously the guide's very skilled in what he does, but knowing what was going on, managing those bumps in the road, skillfully remaining calm throughout. So in our journey today, let's think about how do we create that unshakable core every day in our lives. So resilience, this is the definition. I'll let you read this for yourselves. All right, so pushing through challenges in the pursuit of opportunities. And I love this image of the tree growing out of the rock. And if you've ever gone down that 17-mile drive between, is it Monterey and Carmel? If you ever pause at one of the rest stops, there's a tree growing up in the middle of the water out of the rock. So nature is resilient all the time. And we too have the foundations for that natural resiliency within us. So why is this so important? Right. So in the chat, if a couple of you like to put your ideas in, but again, as I said, as many of you as would like, put your ideas in. I'll read off the first few. Why is resilience important in our lives? Gina getting us started. Oh, sorry, Samantha and Gina, not giving up, your health. It's how we succeed, got confidence. Just keep on going, going, going. It's like, was it Nemo? The fish, just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. Just keep going, going, going. Right? It's that push for more, keep you going in hard times. You don't always feel good, but you know you're driving towards something good. It helps us weather those storms. Exactly. Looking for the positive. Hey, Marcy will be actually taking a look at that, looking for the positive, right? So it's so important to life, but also think about this, if you would. As soon as you know what this is, pop it in the chat. This is a backwards jigsaw puzzle. All right, so I'll take off the pieces one by one. As soon as you know what they are, this is going to be really challenging. Yes, yes, you are quite correct. You are quite correct. Mom and a baby, there we go. All right, so there's an excellent book called Why Zebras. And notice I am using your word, no, our word, because I am to an American student, our word of zebras and not zebras like they do across the pond. But there's an excellent book called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers by Robert Sapolsky. And so he says that zebras hang out in the savannah and they're munching away on the grass. They're eating, eating, eating. Everything's happy. And then along comes a lion. And they go, ruh-roh, lion, run, 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 panic, 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 run, 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 run. The lion goes away and they go back to just eating in the savannah and settle back down. So they don't ruminate, they don't ponder, they don't make things up in their minds about how awful this was and continually keep themselves in that elevated stress place like we as humans do. So Rick Hanson proposed we have this red zone, green zone idea. So we're pushed, like the zebras are pushed into the red zone. They go panic, 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 panic. And then the lion disappears back in the green zone. And for many of us, we don't allow ourselves to come back to the green zone. This is home. This is the landing place. This is ideally where we should be all the time. And so building resilience then helps us perhaps be better or to adapt better to settling more deeply in that green zone. So we're not keeping ourselves in that elevated place of stress. And so a beautiful quote taking us out of this section by Pema Chodron says, "You are the sky, everything else is the weather." So if you imagine yourself as the sky, those clouds are going to come through, the hailstorms, the snow, which makes me giddy, the rain, the searing heat sometimes that we get here, 113 in Sacramento last year, if I remember correctly. But you're the sky. You are unchanging. You have this strong foundation, and then just let everything roll on by. Thank you, Linda. Thank you. Yeah, Pema Chodron. All right, so you're the sky, everything else is the weather. So let's move into then some foundational pieces about building resilience. One, of course, we're very familiar with. We should be taking care of ourselves. So think about this. What are these are sort of the top 5 things that we should be doing to have or contribute to our well-being and, of course, resilience. So which of these are you doing already? All right, let's celebrate what you're doing already. And you can just put the numbers in the chat if you like. What are you doing well already? Are you exercising? Are you managing your nutrition, sleeping well, managing your stress, connecting? All of the above. Wonderful. I see a couple, 1 through 5. Walking on the treadmill. Fantastic. Oh my gosh, you're doing so brilliantly. Look at this. Working on 1 and 3, Leslie. Trying hard on 4, Joan. Yeah, the stress is the problem, right, Melissa? Beautiful. All right. So the next stop is there, for those of you who feel that you're not quite on top of all 5 yet, is there one thing that you would like to do a little bit more of? So pop that in the chat. What is that one thing that you think, yeah, I could do being a little bit more of that one? Again, no guilt here, just the recognition that we could maybe do things a little bit differently. Julian, I see you've got 5 3s there, so that's clearly high on the priority list. All right, and so if it's of interest to you, jot that down because you're sending it out here to our fabulous group, right? You're going to commit to try and work on that, perhaps even in the next week or so. All right. And again, no guilt if you don't get to it. So our next stop then is bright side attitudes. These are both of these items foundational to building resilience. So bright side attitudes, just basically look on the bright side of life, right? Is that right? Who sang that? I can't remember. If anyone remember who sang that, pop it in the chat. I think it's Monty Python. Just gone blank. Oh, it was, Mel. Thank you. It was. There we are. Thank you very much. Good reminder there. All right. So bright side attitudes. We know from Barbara Fredrickson, who wrote the book on positivity, that she did buckets of research along with other people, that hearing and using positive language on a ratio of 3 to 1 is really rather good for us. And so this means when we're saying using positive language, this is managing our thought processes as well as what we're actually saying. But then also hearing from others, things that are framed in a positive way. Now, this doesn't mean that we're ignoring the good. I don't know if you heard a couple of years ago, there was an uproar about the idea of toxic positivity. It's just not realistic. So this doesn't mean that we're Pollyanna-ish about positivity and looking at things on the bright side, but we're using a realistic appraisal. What else is true? Right? So the brain has a negativity bias. We'll take a look at this in a moment. And we tend to lean towards seeing what is wrong. Can we just simply say, how else can I look at this? Right? So that's what this is mirroring, just trying to reframe it into an opportunity as opposed to something that's very negative. So the negative language then blocks our natural resilience mechanism. So it's really useful to start trying to look at things differently. So in the chat, let's just for fun, let's take a look at a couple of these. As I said, last year it was 113 in SAC. I think it made it 111 here in Vacaville. It's been 113 degrees all week. I hate the hot weather. How could you reframe that to the positive or look at it differently? Tiara getting us started. Nancy going, I have AC. I love cooler weather. Have a nice cool house. I can leave town. Don't need to go to the, what was that one? I missed that one. It's temporary. Summertime has the best fruit. Everything's subject to change. Marvelous. Oh, marvelous. It will be nice for the cactus and succulents. At least it cools off at night, unlike Phoenix. I've got guests coming in this weekend from Phoenix. They will be reminding me of that. Christina in Minnesota. Okay, it's never 130. Sundresses and hat weather, not sweater weather, it's sundress and hat weather. There you go, full blast AC. At least we're not 123. Autumn is my favorite. It goes on and on. Superb. It's flip-flop season. All right, so there you go. All right, let's do the next one. Ready? I have to go to a boring meeting. How can we change this? Laurie, I just saw you taking us home there. At least I'm not freezing. Thank you. I have a job. Thank you, Christine. Nailing it right there. I'm getting paid, connect with co-workers. I get to go to lunch afterwards, meet new people. I can take positive notes. Maybe something interesting will happen. Oh, here we go. Maybe there'll be food. Nancy, thank you, bringing up the priority here. It's a break from work. Beautiful. All right. Let's see. What can I contribute to this meeting? Lovely. It's always an opportunity. Excellent. All right, so let's go to the last one. I made a mistake. I'm such a fool. Bearing in mind, we are often harder on ourselves than anybody else ever would be. How can we reframe this one? What did I learn? All right, what are my lessons learned? Swing and miss. Third one. Let me write it down. Will it matter in 5 years? I'm human. Lean into it. This is my first time on earth and I won't do that again. Thank you for the big picture thinking there, Christy. Right, learning and growing. Nobody's perfect. Wonderful. So just on this note, just lingering and throwing another quick side note in here, think about, if you would, the judge. So we all have the judges within us. And when we are being self-critical, as I said, we're often harder on ourselves than we are ever on other people. Are you able to notice that the judge is coming up for you and then move into discernment? And so if we're judging ourselves, what happens? If we're judging ourselves, what happens? We're being self-critical. What happens? Here we go, we judge us as the same, self-pity, less confident. Your mood is negative. We feel worse than we should. There we go, it spirals down. Oh, Gina, that's lovely. There you go, stifles creativity. So, and then if we're judging others, what happens? So let's just move this into one other place. If we're thinking negatively about others, we're judging them. How is that going to come across in our tone of voice? They don't trust us, it comes across negatively. Right, they feel the judgment. Debbie Downer, feel dismissed. Right, Chrissy, we're the ugly we don't like to see in the world. They may tend to avoid us, right? It shuts down dialogue, hurts the relationship. And so our tone of voice can then come across as being accusatory, blaming. And so I think it's very important then, if we notice our mindset is in that negative space, just take a deep breath. We're human. We're perfectly imperfect in every way, like Mary Poppins or thereabouts. But just label it a judge and say, up, there's that judge again, and shift to discernment. And discernment is calling on that deep inner insight, wisdom, goodness that all of you have, and then coming back to just the facts. Sometimes things aren't going well. Well, let's just look at the facts, but not layer on those additional layers of meaning. All right, who said that? Just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. And I had to be told this. I have never seen the show, but I am told. Die Hard, Mike, that's a good start. There we go. It's Joe. It was Dragnet, I'm told, Michelle. Yeah, it was Dragnet. Yeah, exactly. Just the facts, ma'am. All right. So when you notice you're judging yourself or judging others, those are a couple of things that can push us down into that negative space. And it's very simple. Notice the judge. There it is. Let me look at the facts. All right. Thank you very much. So tying this piece all together, then, whenever there's a threat, can we turn it into an opportunity? And again, the brain perceives so many things as a threat. And then just take a big breath, a mindful moment, which we'll be looking at in a moment. Say, okay, how can I switch this into an opportunity? All right. Moving on, let's just do a quick, we've been on about 20 minutes. Let's just do a quick 20-20-20. So if you'd like to, look away from the screen, the monitor, to a distance of 20 feet for 20 seconds. Just let the eye muscles relax a little bit. If you haven't stretched yet this morning, feel free to do that too. So just look away from your monitor for 20 seconds, if possible, to a distance of 20 feet. If you're in an office or a cubicle, you don't have 20 feet, just do the best you can. Look away from the monitor. All right, thank you. And come back. That's a 20-20-20. All right, here we go. The power of mental resources. We'll look at the two things, the negativity bias, and then how do we grow mental resources? So this gets in the way, right? As I mentioned already, the brain is constantly scanning for threat, and very often that outweighs the opportunities that we see as, or the positive that we could be seeing. And so negativity is like Velcro. This comes from Rick Hansen. He says negativity is like Velcro. It gloms on. It's kind of hard to tease it apart. On the other hand, positivity is like a non-stick frying pan. You put something in, you swirl it around, everything's bubbling along happily, and if whoop, something happens, and that positivity flies out the window. And so building on what we said about those 3-to-1, we've got to look for those opportunities for creating those positive moments. And we can do this by increasing our mental resources. So mental resources are things like determination, a sense of self-worth, being kind. These are all mental resources. And the longer we marinate in them, we can start, the more we can start offsetting that negativity bias. One great way to do this as well is simply through gratitude, an easy mental resource to reach for. And so the research that's been done on if you write or journal about 5 things you're grateful for daily, people are happier, have less stress and anxiety, fewer health complaints, sleep better, and have greater resilience. So those who wanted to improve their sleep earlier on, a little known tip, start writing about what you're grateful for. There you go. So if you'd like, in the chat, what is one thing you're grateful for? Put that in the chat. What are you grateful for? Friends, family, being able, mind and body, sunshine, particularly if it's 113, your daughter, your health, mama, awesome husband and kids, spiritual teacher, your co-workers and team, the people God put you around you, your boys love you unconditionally, your amazing wife, Beautiful nature. Thank you, Samantha, this training, and thank you to Marissa. I'm grateful to Marissa for coordinating and bringing us all together today. Awesome. All right. So imagine if you just jotted down each day 5 things from the day that you were grateful for, what would happen? Right. So a nice way to start building that particular mental resource. And then when you notice yourself being kind, being forgiving, being generous, having a sense of self-worth, being confident, can you take a breath and just marinate in that moment for 10 seconds? Right? So really starting to take in the good more frequently. So the path that your life takes depends on, first of all, how you build those inner resources and how you manage your challenges. So our key focus today is increasing those resources. So internalizing those experiences of well-being is the key step. And this builds those strengths and makes you more resilient. So when we're talking about what makes you giddy with joy, what you're grateful for, your sense of self-worth, internalizing them, not just saying, okay, yeah, I did a good job there, but marinating in it a little bit longer helps offset that negativity bias. And then the well-being, we feel better when we're doing these things. And then our built-in resilience, the two of them combine and they take us in an upward spiral. So positive, this happens because of positive neuro. I will start this over. Positive neuroplasticity. So yeah, I've had 2 cups of coffee and I can still say that. So neuroplasticity is the ability of the brain to connect new neurons. So the longer we marinate in an experience or that sense of gratitude, the brain, the neurons start firing together and then they start connecting. So we can actually reformat the brain. And what we're looking for is a temporary state, changing that temporary state into a trait, the way that we are. Right? So this is what it takes. It's marinating in those moments, allowing the brain to reconfigure so we can change from state to trait. And neurons that fire together wire together. So we want those neurons that are occurring during positive experiences to have the opportunity to wire together, hence the need to marinate for about 10 seconds. And it's also important to pay attention to where you're paying attention. If we're routinely focusing on things that we regret, being self-critical, limiting assumptions, that builds out that part of the brain, that neural substrate. On the other hand, if we focus more on what we're grateful for, our sense of goodness, kindness of other people, that builds out that neural substrate, right? So it's leaning into the positive. So again, building on earlier, we've had positive ratio 3:1. We have this idea of moving from state to trait, because the neurons that fire together wire together. And so if we're doing these with more consistency, then we're going to build out that neural substrate in the brain. And just to let you know where I focus my attention most often and find it very helpful, a good cup of coffee and chocolate. There you go. So, whoops, second time. So here is another picture unwrap. What is this? As soon as you know, let me know in the chat. Any idea what's going on here and where is it happening? It's a traffic stop. Ah, could we capture? Yep, it's London. It is London. There we go. Traffic in London. Jolly well done. Yep, traffic in London. Yep, the old taxi cabs there. I think that's Marble Arch in the background. So why are we talking about traffic in London? Well, several years ago, research was done on the taxi cab drivers in London. And they all have to know the streets of London off by heart, inside out and backwards. Now, don't ask me if they're allowed to use GPS these days. I don't know. I just know about this study. And what they found was that the brains of the taxi drivers very, very different to ours. The hippocampus is really well built out because of this practice of having to know all the streets of London and using it every day, right? So we know that these changes occur in the brain. And so, where does your mind dwell most of the time? Don't put this one in the chat. This is just for you. Are you, is your focusing on those things where you perhaps be a little bit more self-critical, judging yourself harshly, or do you find your mind dwelling on gratitude, things that kindness of other people, all of those sort of mental resources that help us take in the good? So again, we're not putting this in chat. Just consider, where does your mind dwell? Give you a moment to think about that. And Marcy, I just saw your note there. All right. So again, it's no judgment here. Remember the owl? The owl's looking over your shoulder right now. And if you said, oh my gosh, I'm always self-critical, this is not about self-judgment or being self-critical. It's just looking at the facts. Strengthening beneficial thoughts. How do we do this? Bad farmers grow weeds, good farmers grow crops, but great farmers grow soil. So can we stop feeding those weeds and start focusing more on crops and growing great soil? And that's where starting to take in the good more often for longer periods, focusing more on those positive things builds out that neural substrate in the brain. Here we go. A couple more items, and then we will be taking some questions. So, got mindfulness? We can get here through small doses of mindfulness. So, mindfulness is basically being present in this moment with non-judgmental awareness, right? Being in the present moment with non-judgmental awareness. It's being in now, and there is the excellent book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. And he notes that if we can be in the now, we're not worrying about what's happened, we're not anxious about what's coming, we are just in this moment. And can we just be on the edge of now and now and now? And with our busy lives, that's pretty hard to get to sometimes, or is it? So this doesn't mean that you have to sit cross-legged in the corner for 40 minutes practicing mindfulness or meditation, although that is a very lovely, helpful thing to do as well. But it can be as simple as when you're sipping your water, just close your eyes for a moment and notice the cool water going over your tongue and into your throat. That's mindfulness. When you're eating, slowing down the eating so you actually taste the flavors and the textures of the food. When you're out walking, take a look at nature. Look up at the clouds in the sky. Make sure there are no cars coming at that time. Those are all simple moments where you can practice mindfulness. And if you're out walking in nature, of course, take a few moments to marinate in being outside in our fabulous state of California. So that's the introduction to mindfulness. And we build on that. It takes us to be able to come and be in the now, to recognize those good moments, right? We need to recognize right now, this is a beautiful moment for me to just marinate in. And so taking in the good builds on that, where we focus our attention on an experience long enough so that it can be consolidated in the brain. And this can be for less than a minute, but frequently throughout the day. So I said 10 seconds, 20 seconds here throughout the day. All right. So we're going to take a look at a video from Rick Hansen, and he introduces his 1 minute for taking in the good. And so I am going to stop sharing. I'll go on mute, and then Marissa, I'll turn it over to you to start the video, if you would, please. So I'll stop sharing.
Got a little challenge for you. See if you can bring to mind some positive experience, maybe based on what's happening around you, something beautiful or reassuring in your environment, maybe another person. You could bring to mind a memory, a happy time in your life, or just think about some things that you're grateful for. And then, when the challenge starts, see if you can stay with that experience for 10 seconds in a row. It's okay if your mind wanders a little bit, that's pretty natural, but on the whole, can you dwell in, can you become absorbed in this beneficial experience? And in the process of that, actually draw it increasingly into yourself. So, if you can, bring to mind something that's genuine and authentic and positive. It's probably a little thing, it doesn't need to be a $1,000,000 moment. And then when I say go, we'll count it down for 10 seconds and see if you can stay with it over the course of this practice. So, bringing to mind whatever it is that's positive that you want to rest in, getting centered in it, having this experience, and now for 10 seconds, see if you can rest in it, even absorbing it into yourself, starting now. Good. Now notice how you feel compared to where you were when we started. If you were able to stay with it, it has probably and understandably and naturally affected you a little bit, probably for the better. While you were resting in this, billions of neurons inside your head were firing together. And in the famous saying, when neurons fire together, they start wiring together. And in the process of resting your mind in this beneficial experience, you are beginning the process of creating a lasting change of neural structure and function. In this program, what I've done is pulled together over 50 wonderful places to rest your attention, to rest your mind, a breath at a time, a minute at a time, even multiple times a day if you like. And in the process of that, getting a reset immediately in the moment, and over time, increasingly drawing these states of being into yourself so they become a lasting part of you. Things like find beauty, take in the good, get on your own side, have compassion for yourself, even fill the hole in your heart. And as you do these practices, a minute at a time, a day at a time, you will gradually be helping yourself from the inside out. So I invite you to join me just 1 minute at a time.
Okay, thank you very much, Marissa, for that. So that was Rick Hansen, and that was just a minute of taking in the good. So let's take a look a little bit more about what he was talking about. So he has developed the heal approach, where you have an experience, you enrich it, and then absorb it. And we'll talk about the L part in just a moment. So if you have an apple, right, you have an apple, you take a bite and you go, oh my goodness, what a great apple. Oh, I taste the flavors. Oh, the juice is wonderful. It's so sweet. Then you might look at the apple and go, gosh, I wonder who it was that put this apple out in the store at the grocery store. Who brought it from the orchard to the grocery store? Who is the farmer? I'm grateful to the farmer who planted the seeds and nurtured these apples in their orchard. And you know what? I'm actually grateful to that farmer's parents too. All right, so that's a little extreme, but you're looking for moments to expand that experience so that you can then absorb it. And the absorption for me is I just take a moment, close my eyes, and it's almost like, I know this sounds a little bit woo-woo, but it's not. But I just imagine like there's a golden light or the thought is sinking into my brain. Right? So that's what it takes, 10 seconds. Oh, the apple's so great, so grateful. Ah, And there you go. All right, so 10 seconds at a time. And so you can do this multiple times a day. So many of you mentioned your grandchildren or your children, your family members being out in nature. You can do this anywhere at any time, right? So just making those experiences a little bit longer, and then just closing your eyes just for a few seconds and imagining it sinking into your brain, right? So that is the HEA part of the heal experience. You can also evoke an experience. So if you're not in the moment and you're just sitting at your monitor, or you're getting ready for bed, or you're first waking up in the morning, you can call to mind. The more you build, I'll just backtrack, the more you spend time in those positive experiences, the easier it is to call up those experiences in the moment whenever you need them. And so you can do this multiple times a day, 10 seconds at a time. And the image here is, we were in San Francisco in March, I think it was, and they have one of the big sailing racing cups, competitions. They have the catamarans there. This is right in front of the Golden Gate Bridge. And so I was out there with my husband. It was a glorious day in San Francisco. Could not have been better. The wind was blowing. The catamarans were out there. Families were out having a great time. And so I did an HEA. I marinated in the moment several times, and I can surface it now whenever I just want to bring up that thought again. By the way, I wish I'd taken this photo. No, this is some professional's photo, but it's a really good one. All right, so you can then call up the experience. So 2 ways to build the good. 1, in the moment. And number 2, evoking that experience, calling it up when you need it. And again, it's just simply 10 seconds frequently throughout the day. And the other opportunities then here are when your basic needs are being met. So we've talked about, first of all, when we notice mental resources, right? A sense of determination, being kind, gratitude, when those are in the works, let's marinate in those. Here are some other opportunities when basic needs are being met. So if you feel safe, so key motivation for all of us, a key need is safety. We feel safe enough, and we have the sense of, I'm all right now. The other one is a sense of satisfaction. A bite of an apple, you send the email, a walk by nature, walk in nature or by the ocean with your grandchildren, senses of satisfaction are those moments, and then also senses of connection. And so meeting friends, cuddling the pet, again, being with the grandchildren, family members, other people. Just soak those moments in 10 seconds at a time. All right. So the L part is linking. So if you notice a negative thought is surfacing, or a negative experience keeps coming up, can you very gently, and again, without self-judgment, push that to the back of your mind and then evoke a positive experience to counteract it. All right. So maybe you've had a negative interaction with a colleague. It didn't go well. Can you push that to the back of your mind? I'm not saying we're not going to deal with that, but just for the moment, push that to the back of your mind. And then can you evoke perhaps a good experience you might have had with that same person or with different colleagues, right? So you want to try and match the negative experience with something similar. And then rest in that positive experience. So that is the L part of heal, right? So you can then call up that positive experience and then let it override the negative experience. Now, I'm not going to say the negative experiences thought is going to go away. I wish I could say that, but that's not true. But what it does mean is we don't have to marinate in it, because we can evoke a more positive experience at the same time. Okay. So as we end our little session today, our 1-hour session, managing challenges. Remember, the path your life takes depends on how you increase your resources, which is what we were just talking about, and how you manage your challenges in life. So when there is a challenge, then something that I really find very beneficial is breathing. A lot of research, again, about how just taking some deep breaths helps to calm the sympathetic nervous system in the brain. And that sympathetic nervous system is what pushes us into fight or flight. One lovely approach is Andrew Weil's breathing technique, and he has the 4-7-8 approach. And he has a YouTube video. If you want to check it out, YouTube, go to Andrew Weil breathing technique 4-7-8 on YouTube, and he demonstrates how to do this. So if you'd like to do it with me, I'll do it once for you here, but then I do recommend watching him. So if you, first of all, exhale, now breathe in through the nose for 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. And then you repeat that cycle 3 more times. And he recommends just doing it 1 minute at a time to start off with. But for those who are focused on trying to improve their sleep, he also recommends this as a great practice to help with your sleep as well. All right, so there's step 1 for managing challenges. In the moment, you can use this. Another approach is to grow your circle of control. So very often in life, you know, the world throws things at us and we're juggling all those balls. And that weather comes, as we talked about earlier, and we feel a little bit out of control, and we're focusing on things in the red area here that we don't have control over. We spend too much time ruminating on things we don't have control over. And Stephen Covey says, if we can bring our attention to the center of this circle, to the things we do have control over, we can grow that circle of control and actually put things into practice rather than emphasizing that circle of concern. So as an example here, my daughter moved to New York back right before COVID. And one evening she just moved into her flat and she called, she was crying on the phone. She was 24 at the time. She was crying, her back was hurting so badly she couldn't stop the pain. And of course, this was 11 or 12 o'clock at night, and I was very concerned and said, well, what have you taken? Can you do a hot bath? No, there's no bath here. And so we hung up. She was still crying. I couldn't sleep. So I came to the computer and I spent about half an hour. And first of all, I found a free wellness clinic within about 5 minutes. I found a chiropractor, an acupuncturist, a pharmacist, a 24-hour pharmacist. And I was able to focus in on something that I could actually do, my circle of control. So my circle of control went from this to perhaps not quite as big as this, but I felt I had done all that I could do. And then I was able to sleep. So it's very useful then, if things that are going on in your life that you feel you don't have control over, can you simply shift your attention to things you do have control over? And this is particularly in our work life. Oftentimes change is initiated in our organizations over which we have no control. Illnesses come and go, disasters come and go. Can we then just bring it down into what do I have control over now? And then we have that sense of autonomy. And again, that sense of control, a great resource. Right? So on that note, that brings us to the end of our session. And so we looked at the foundations. We looked at what resilience is, why it's important. We looked at the power of those mental resources, determination, kindness, sense of self-worth, gratitude. We used mindfulness to focus in on taking in the good, looking at ways to build out that neural substrate, and then tying it up at the end on how to manage those challenges. And first of all, simple way through breathing, and then the second, of course, broadening, widening that circle of control. So thank you all very, very much indeed for tuning in. And just before I go, I will just let you know, Melissa was very kind and said that I could share with you that today, the book, actually, I'm going to, this should be my last part. Go ahead, create your unshakable core. There you go. Create your unshakable core. And then just wanted to share, I just learned today the book that I've been working on for 2 years, or co-authoring with the fabulous authors of Conversations Worth Having, is actually going to the typesetter today. So in the fall, hopefully this book will be available using some of the stuff we're talking about today. And I'm hoping to offer a half-day course through CPS. We'll let you know if that happens. So Marissa, thank you. Over to you for any questions that might have come up. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sylvette. And thank you everyone for being here. And we certainly have a lot to think about and had some great takeaways that we can all use daily for our well-being. So thank you again, Sylvette, for being here with us today. Before we head into Q&A, just a few quick reminders. Yes, this session was recorded. You will receive an email tomorrow with the link, and you can always find it on our website at cpshr.us. The recording will be up later this afternoon, so just keep an eye out for that if you're going to go visit our website. At CPS HR Consulting, we're proud to support public sector agencies with services like recruitment, training, test rental, classification and compensation, compliance, and so much more. If you're looking for strategic HR support, we are here to help. And finally, we'd really appreciate it if you could complete the short survey that will pop up at the end of this session. Your feedback helps us make future webinars even better. Thank you again to our presenter, and thank you to all of you for spending time with us today. Be sure to join us on June 18th for our webinar on writing for HR pros from another amazing CPS HR trainer. We hope to see you there. I will post the links for everything else in the chat right now. I currently don't have any questions in the Q&A, but if you guys would like to stick around for a moment and ask your questions if you have any, we will be here. If not, we will go ahead and let you have the rest of the day, but we'll stick around for another minute or so to see if anything comes in. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Tammy. Oh, all of you are so sweet in the chat. Thank you.
Oh, for linking, oops, I just see there's a question, any more information on the linking, Michelle? Yes, so what I'm going to, actually, I'll put it in the chat. Oh, thank you. I see all these lovely comments. Thank you so very much. Here is what I recommend is take a look at Rick Hanson's work. And he has a book called Hard Wiring Happiness. And oh, sorry, let me respell it. Here we go. Hard Wiring Happiness. And then also he has another book on resilience. Okay, so I highly recommend those for the linking as well.
Thanks, Sylvette. Also, I'd like to mention that Sylvette, as I've already mentioned, is a trainer of ours here at our CPS HR Consulting Training Center. She has a full list of courses on our webinar webpage, which is the same link where you can find the webinar later this afternoon. So that will be linked in the email, but you can also find it on the website as well. So just be sure to check out her courses later today. All right, I don't see any other questions coming in. This is our last call, so we will be hopping off. So we will see you next month. Thank you again, Sylvette. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bye. Thank you, Marissa.
Bye-bye.